I find that incredible, and I kind of want to like go deeper into really just your fighting career and a parallel with psychedelics. A lot of people are kind of saying that there's this flow state, and sometimes people even microdose and use psilocybin or tiny slivers of LSD to help engage with flow states, but it's not even necessary. And I really want to ask, like, I guess that would be is that the flow state that you were experiencing when time would just slow itself down? Did it feel like things were effortless in that state? Because when it comes to like Jamie Wheel, Stephen Kotler from the Flow Genome Project, they have this very specific idea of what flow is. And it's apparently similar to what HeartMath Institute calls coherence. It's where the brain waves, they shift a bit and everything seems to just make sense. You lose sight of yourself. The task and the performer become the same event. It seems effortless. Michael Jordan, time slows down, and that slam dunk from the free throw line seems effortless because he's practiced it so many times. Maybe it goes subconscious. But like, I want to ask, like, have you had experiences like that before ever having it induced by something you ingested?
Yeah, I've had many times in a competition where I've had that flow state happen, and it was almost like an out of body experience where I'm just watching myself perform, and I see everything coming, almost like 2 or 3 moves before it even happens, and when it does come, it's very slow. And even me, when it like when I'm in that flow state, I'll throw a punch, and it will go so slow. I'm just like, man, I'm feeling really slow today. So then I'll throw faster than that. And then I'm like, I need to pick up my speed. But then when I go back and watch the film, I was throwing like lightning. But to me at the time, it was just so slow in a flow state. But in a flow state, it's the place where I want to be. Like I would wait until the flow state happened, because then that's when Suga can come out. Suga was the performer. Suga liked it. He liked to be in a flow state. Rashad Evans wasn't too much of a fighter, but Suga loved it.
Isn't that wild that like in that kind of a scenario, you have time to think about your decisions and how you're doing, and you have time to critique yourself. Like it actually slowed it down. I could imagine it even caused like a distance in some space where you're observing yourself going through these motions that most people, it's like, it would be such an intense experience, but like it almost sounds like there'd be a little bit of quietude there if you can sit there and ruminate about yourself while in the octagon.
Yeah, you're right about that. See, the thing about it is the fact that when you're in a flow state, you're not even thinking, and that's the beauty of it. You're just reacting, and you're almost reacting in a state of like a sixth sense. Like you just kind of know what's going to happen, as if you got the script was going to happen, and you just kind of feeling it, and there's just there's no thought at all. It was just like you see it, you do it, or you see it, or you see it's about to happen, and then you're already on it without even a thought. And next thing you know, it's like, wow, I didn't even realize that I was even doing it. It's just like the training just takes over for you, and you just kind of sit back and just watch the show as if like you bought a ticket to the fight.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, man, the training thing, I've noticed. So musicians get into that state and they sit there and they noodle on the guitar, or they play on the drums, or like Pink Floyd, they play as a band together for countless hours until this seeming like epiphenomena. I think it was in the Grateful Dead, they said, and then the music played the band rather than the other way around. I heard that from Charles Eisenstein, and it just makes so much sense. I've been in a band. I've felt those moments where just countless hours playing the same songs over and over again would give rise to these brief and fleeting moments on stage where there's thousands of people watching. The stakes seem pretty high. You mess up and thousands of people see it, and now there's phones, it's permanent. And because of that right mix of ingredients, these almost moments of magic where it almost seems the audience was in on it as well. Like it couldn't have happened without all of them.
Right.
And that's like a merging with the room, the people around you. You sense your oneness. And maybe the audience also is so, enraptured by what's going on when they see like a divine move, one that's just like, oh, you could tell this guy is on his game, got the other one's number. There's just something that's clicking so right. You see the audience get up in arms, and they feel it, like they feel another aspect. And it's almost like, you know, whatever is happening in the ring can't be held just by the people in the ring. It needs the audience to scream and yell and get it all out and bite their nails and stuff like that. Have you ever, like, I could imagine this is the same experience. I've been in some peyote ceremonies, and I've been in some circles and groups of people, up to around, you know, 30 people with plant medicines. And I almost feel the same thing where, you know, like with ayahuasca, it's a purgative. You purge, you throw up. And I've felt before, like, obviously, distinctly, I'm going through something personal and I got to purge. I got to get it out of me. I need some symbolic gesture to my body and to the environment to just let that thing go. But then there's distinct times where I'm like, I'm not purging for myself. I feel like I'm purging either for someone in the room, or I'm purging for the planet at large. Like the planet at large can't maintain what's happening on it, or it needs its children to express it out and somehow like turn it into an expression to, you know, get the release valve. And so, like, super curious, have you ever had those kinds of moments where you really felt, whether in the ring or whether with plant medicine, this unity, just with creation, not even just all humans, but just like everything is this one experience, and you, like, you find yourself at least aware that that's what it is while it's happening?
Yeah, right before I go into that place, when I get to that lock-in zone place, there's almost like a very quiet, subtle energy that I just start to just feel, and it just starts to I start to feel it connect and everything. It's almost it's almost a deafening quiet thing, you know, where everything is loud, but then the loudness doesn't actually have sound. It actually makes things brighter, and things that are bright, as in visually speaking, they're loud to you, and then you're kind of your senses are kind of distorted in this state of just hypersensitivity, you know, because they're so hypersensitive that they kind of almost blend into each other, and you start to hear the audience, but you can't. You're not only hearing the audience, you're feeling the audience inside of your chest, and you're just like, man, what is that feeling, you know? And adrenaline is not all yours, because you're just feeling this crowd just feed into you. And then as soon as the curtains open up, you see the crowd just go crazy, and then that light just hits you. And for a second, your knees get so weak to the point where you can't even feel your feet. And you start stomping out your feet to kind of wake your legs back up, like, yo, this is happening, because the energy is just that raw. And as you walk to the cage, the feelings in your legs starts to come back a little bit, and then you start to remember what you're there for. But at first, man, that energy is almost can blow you over when you first open that curtain.
Make sure y'all head over to benjosephstewart.com, become a member. You'll have access to the growing library of deeper dives where I talk about all the stuff that I really can't talk about on YouTube. Make sure you get involved in the Discord chat. That's where a lot of the conversation is happening, talking about new theories, being able to interweave into the greater conversation that is how we awaken infinity. That's our highest potential. And I just want to remind you, you are the most powerful technology ever known to creation. Wield it like an artist with a conscience.